That's also the moment as well. If you stay to the bitter end when everybody's had chucking out, because then it's like, oh well, then is there some other exciting thing happening? Is someone having a party? Is there somewhere else to go? That's sometimes when you might have to, if you're wanting to, then pluck up the courage to chat to people.
Hello, I am Kay Anderson, and you are listening to Lost Spaces, the podcast that mourns the death of queer nightlife. Every episode, I talk to a different person about a venue from their past, the memories they created there, and the people that they used to know. This week, I am joined by my previous guest, Venn Smyth, a singer-songwriter who writes unashamed pop with a strong message. When we last met, we talked about his student days in Edinburgh, but this time we jumped forward a few years to his early days in London and his experiences at the East London basement bar, East Bloc, which closed in 2018. So why don't we start off by reading the online reviews?
Okay.
I've gone on to Foursquare where a bunch of people have put their reviews, and I'm going to read them out. And you let me know whether you agree with what they've said or whether it sparks any memories. So Alice said in 2016, "It used to be the most amazing gay club in London, full of queens and freaks, up until 2013. I've been lately and it hurts to see how much it's turned into shit. Music is awful, nights are boring." What do you reckon about what Alice has to say?
Wait, when did they say that? 2016?
2016, yeah.
So that was basically when I started going there. So I can't comment. I had a good time from 2016
Alice,
onwards.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, well, maybe it was better before. But I feel that everybody always says that, right? Like whenever you find somewhere and then someone's like, oh yeah, it used to be so much better like years ago. And you're like, well, I'm having a nice time. So,
well, yeah, thanks for pissing on my parade.
Yeah, exactly.
So now, John, in 2014, John's a bit of a smart aleck. John says, "Pertains to be like a Berlin nightclub, but is nothing like one. Drinks are painfully expensive, cash only." So what do you reckon about what John has to say?
I mean, these people, come on, it's fun. I don't remember the drinks being expensive, personally. Cash only. Maybe so. Again, not much of a recollection of it.
So Russell B says, "It's small, it's dirty, it's sweaty. If you are off your nut, it's great. No attitude, place to dance."
Well, there you go. That's what my experience of it is as well. It is quite grotty and dirty, and but I enjoyed the no attitudes, and it's a place to dance. That's the thing that I loved about it the most. It's not a bar. Like you wouldn't go there to chat and have nice drinks. It's literally a kind of Red Stripe situation. And yes, quite a lot of people probably are enjoying themselves through other ways as well, I would say.
Through other ways, what do you mean? Like interpretive dance?
By drugs.
Drugs, okay.
And darts, yeah. There was a dart room. Dart room, not dark room.
A dart room?
No, there wasn't.
Oh.
Just a bad joke.
Is that just the Scottishness coming out, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So just side note, have you ever watched darts on TV?
I have actually. Like somehow by accident.
But like, who enjoys it?
Well, I don't know, but the audience, like, they go wild.
I find it really strange.
Mm.
But I mean, I guess I feel that way about most sports. Anyway, so you started going in 2016-ish or after 2016?
Yeah, so when it turned shit, I... yeah, I think I was only... So this is... So maybe a year or so, maybe a little bit longer into my moving to London. So I feel like I'd gotten used to London a little bit. Was first living in like New Cross area, but I think I'd not long moved from there up to Stoke Newington, which is when I would have first gone to East Bloc.
And so I'm going to ask a really, really annoying question.
Yeah.
Why did you move to London?
Not an annoying question.
It is. It is. How do you answer? How do you answer that? Like,
well, a relationship at the time, which
okay, that's how you answer it.
Yeah, I'd say so. So we moved together. I moved with my boyfriend. He got work in London, like a transfer of his work, and then I think basically though it was a bit of a plaster of a relationship. So we thought, well, maybe this will help. Let's move to London. And then we promptly broke up 3 months later. So,
and so were you in the same flat?
Yeah, we moved. So we were living together and then moved to the same flat, or a flat in London. Yeah.
And London brought out the best of you.
Yeah, exactly. Sort of, made that relationship unravel. Sort of, I guess, not too many months. But hey, we both still live in London, so I think London won in the end. Got to keep both of us, exactly.
Okay, so you'd moved to Stoke Newington after a year, and that's when you first started going to East Bloc.
Yes.
Do you remember the first time you went there?
I think actually that unless I'd been there once before, but I think my first time was actually my flat warming in my flat in Stoke Newington. So with my new flatmate, Carl, who was living with there, and a couple of our friends came over to have some cocktails and warm up the flat. And then we ended up going to East Bloc, but was not a good first night because I was very, very drunk. So my flatmate was making some delicious cocktail. I can't remember what it was, but it was clearly very, very strong, and I had not known how strong it was until we left, and then I think got an Uber to East Bloc, and I was suddenly very, very drunk, and then had to leave not long after arriving there. Because basically like hanging on the edge of the bar, not being a very good state.
So that's the story.
That's the first time was not a long visit there. So it's not a very good first story. But I did go back. They allowed me back in, which is good.
Okay, so let's put that to one side. Do you remember your second time there?
So then I think there was, I couldn't quite pinpoint an exact second time, but I feel it became a kind of like a local-ish place where you could go out dancing from where I was in Stoke Newington. So I think there's Dawson Superstore was a possibility. Vogue Fabrics as well. The Glory, I guess, was kind of right at the same time. It just kind of started. I guess it was more kind of performance based and a bit more pubby. But in terms of like just going for a dance that opens till kind of 3 a.m, maybe sometimes later, that was the place to go. So I think it sort of quickly became not regular. I wasn't going like every week, but definitely was a regular place to kind of go. And I remember it being quite like a dark and dingy, and if you go at the wrong time it's quite empty. But then there's like this sort of magic moment where suddenly everybody just seems to arrive, and then suddenly you're like in the middle of this packed little club and everybody's just having a good old time.
So when is the wrong time? Is it just when it's too early?
Yeah, I guess like probably definitely before midnight, I think. And then it's probably, I don't know, maybe like 1:30 is maybe like I guess when all the pub, like bars and stuff are kind of kicking out and people are looking for places to go. But yeah, before that, you could kind of be like, "Oh, this is a bit weird. Actually, it's a bit too quiet." But then suddenly, it becomes filled with bodies.
And explain to me what the dance floor is like.
So there's some really steep stairs. So it's on street level near like kind of round the corner from Old Street somewhere. I always find it a bit hard to like exactly pinpoint where it was. And like a little smoking bit outside. So you have to come back up the stairs to smoke. And then, yeah, some really steep steps going downstairs. And there's a cloakroom. I think it was all red walls. And then you come in, you basically come in to the bar, but it's kind of like the dance floor. So you come in and there's like a small kind of bar, but then immediately there's a dance floor. It's very small. There's a DJ booth at the other end of the room, and then the other end is like a bar, and then that's the dance floor in between, or the main room anyway. But yeah, you pretty much just like come straight into it, and there's not really, I guess there is a bar area, but it's the same room pretty much. It's just it kind of just becomes the dance floor as well. And then it's kind of like a little bit of a weird, very small, but kind of like a little bit of a rabbit warren. There's like different like bits that kind of came off.
And so what do you think are the main ingredients of a good dance floor?
Well, I mean, in terms of like a proper clubbing experience, this is not it. But in terms of a good dance floor that I think is somewhere that you can kind of just go to let loose, and you know you're probably going to have a fun night at some point in the evening. I feel like small kind of grubby places that are quite dark and kind of there's no other option, I think, is one of the things, because the bar was so small and was basically on the dance floor. You kind of, everybody just has to kind of be in that mood and that, and what everybody just has to kind of dance because you're kind of on the dance floor. If you go to the bar, you're on the dance floor basically.
Oh no, but doesn't that mean that people are just kind of standing there and kind of begrudgingly swaying rather than getting into it?
I don't know, not from my experience from that bar. And I know that that can kind of be the experience, but I think it kind of I think if you're into it and you're like, okay, cool, this is what it is, you're into it. And I think quite a lot, I did notice, I remember quite a few times people would come in and then leave. Like, so I think it did actually cut out quite a lot of people because they realized there's no real space to like stand and talk. And like, I mean, you can, but it's kind of like, okay, you're in here to have a dance basically. And so it kind of like had its own sifting, I think, of people. So, and I don't know what, I think that is maybe just to do with the way that the space was set up, and it's kind of, and I think there's been a few places, like I remember a place in Edinburgh called Garibaldi's, which was not a queer venue, but back in my student days, which was, it kind of reminds me of that a little bit, which was basically, again, the downstairs venue, and you come in and you're basically on the dance floor, and it was just a place you know you could go and everybody's like-minded in the mood for just having a dance.
People have no
so
choice.
Something around that, and I don't know how it's the energy of it, and I guess once you've been there, you kind of know that's other people are going to be in the same kind of mood, I guess. So it just became somewhere that was really somewhere that I knew that I could go and have a dance, and also I would sometimes go there by myself as well for a dance. It was never planned, but it would be. Maybe I'd been out somewhere else, or I don't know, around someone's for dinner or for drinks or something, and I felt that I wanted to keep the night going, and maybe like on the way home, would just pop in for a little boogie, and it felt comfortable for me to do that.
Yeah, this is one of the things that I love about queer spaces and queer culture is that so many people like haven't been able to find their tribe unless they go to a gay bar or a queer bar or whatever, and so it is far more I don't want to use the word normal because I hate that word. It's far less unusual to see someone who's there on their own.
Yeah,
It's just totally acceptable.
Yeah, definitely. And if you want it to be, it can kind of be a signal that you are ready to kind of chat to other people, and like
Do
maybe
other
other people
things.
kind of pick up on that cue as well. Yeah, do other things as well, which of course is part of it. Like, go ahead and pull. Although I don't think I ever really pulled that much there. I know, surprising.
Surprising.
Shocking.
I have resting bitch face. It just makes it really hard for people to want to start a conversation with me, and then I'm too shy to start conversations myself. So it's just
So
tough.
just not. Well, this is where somewhere where there's no chance for you to have a conversation. How are your dance moves?
Oh yeah, I mean they are just. Oh god, I was going to say something really outdated then. Oh, I'll just go with it. They're on point.
Mm, great. On point. On point
but
onto the
but I
dance
think
floor.
but I think that might be a problem though, because I get really into the music, and then if someone is trying to hit on me, I'm like, I'm enjoying this
Oh,
song. Can you leave me alone?
well, but
I'm not going
that's
to be able to
okay.
sing
I feel like
along if you want to snog. Sorry, go away.
interrupting my dancing.
And so, what happens to you when you're on your own in a club?
Well, I mean, I guess you kind of have to. Actually, you have to be in the right frame of mind for it as well, because it can then also feel quite like depressing if you
Oh yeah,
if you're
if you get your
well,
hopes
yeah, I don't
up,
know if you're yeah if you get your hopes up, or yeah, I don't know, or just
you strike
and
and
then
miss quite a few
maybe
times.
yeah, you strike a miss, or you just don't even end up talking to anybody, or that kind of thing. But I think if you I don't know, I think if you can kind of get over that and kind of just enjoy it, even if it's for a little moment, then I think that's quite fun. And
So
just
you've got to East Bloc. You've been out for drinks with your friends. You are on
yeah,
your way home. You're like, nah, I'm gonna get off the bus and I'm gonna go. I'm
yeah,
gonna go in.
hmm
The place, the dance floor, kind of consumes you at first. So you have a little dance, you have a little drink. Do
hmm
you then go and make small talk?
Hmm. I'm not very much of a instigator of small talk. I'm not very good at it actually. So
So then,
I
how do you
probably
look available?
um, I probably would sort of I don't know, probably probably just like move around and have a little dance. Maybe try and like dance to people who I think look kind of cool. I think quite a lot of it is to do with dancing. I think that is probably my small talk if I'm able
With your
to
buddy?
uh, with my body, yeah. Or if you can like eye contact someone and just have a bit of a boogie, and then maybe you might see them again at the bar. Then at least that's a bit of an icebreaker. So you've kind of already had some sort of interaction before, instead of just being like, "Hi."
Oh, okay.
As even say,
So your icebreaker
I
is
think,
like, I liked your moves.
yeah, yeah, I guess so. Um, yeah, yeah. It's a hard one to do. Well, I wouldn't. I was going to say I'd like to watch myself and see what I do. I'd not like to do
No,
that.
no,
That's
you
probably
would
how
not. No.
I really don't. So I don't know. I don't know what I do. It's probably something really weird, but sometimes it just happens, and then you chat to people. And it's fun. But I do. Yeah, I can't describe a move that I
How
have.
often did it happen to you, like when you pluck up the courage to just talk to a random stranger and then they say, "Oh, I'm not interested."
Oh yeah, I mean that's
Oh, that's
happened many
horrible.
times.
Because there's no way of coming back from that. That you can't be like, "Oh, I wasn't hitting on you. I was just making small talk," because then you'll seem pissy. So you just have to be like, "Okay, well, bye."
Yeah. Yeah, that puts a damper on things, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
And then if it's a really busy club and there's nowhere for you to actually physically go because like there's no
Yeah,
space
it's like,
anywhere,
oh
then you're just like, I'll just stand here.
yeah, no, that's the worst. You just have to move around or pretend you're just really enjoying dancing by yourself.
Yeah, and then just like, as fate would have it, you just run into them continually for the rest of the evening as well.
And then when the lights come on, they're like waiting at the bus stop.
Oh, yes. And you're getting the same bus. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm just really fascinated by my shoes right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So it's happened to you as well.
Oh, yeah, all the time. That's also the moment as well. If you stay to the bitter end when everybody's had chucking out, because then it's like, oh, well, then is there some other exciting thing happening? Is someone having a party? Is there somewhere else to go? That's sometimes when you might have to, if you're wanting to, then pluck up the courage to chat to people.
So how do you get a sense of that then?
Well, I don't know. Sometimes it's just you happen to be hanging in the right place in the jacket queue, and there's people that are chatty. That I feel it's more I would get pulled in by someone who's much more outgoing than me. Otherwise, I'd probably just get my jacket and be like, oh well.
So you're just relying on someone to prey on you.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for someone to talk to me, basically. Waiting for 4 hours all night. I don't know. I'm sure there's been odd occasions where I might have struck up the conversation, but I'm definitely more of a, let's see who's got some good vibes and who's having fun. Let's see if they bring me in. But basically, also it's very easy to then bring me in. So even if you were just like, hi, I'd be like, okay, cool. And I'd
where are we going?
Yeah. I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, great. Like no questions asked. All right, cool. Or yeah, I'll dance with you guys on dance floor. And then you're like, oh, actually, I think they want me to leave. Maybe I should move on.
Oh no. Why did you say that?
Well, I
don't like your moves.
Yeah, well, it can be a bit rusty. No, my moves are great. Well, you don't want to overstep your mark if people are having like special friend night, and then you're just like the hanger on.
Oh, have you ever had it when there's like a group of people and then you make out with one of them and then there's another person in that group who actually fancied the person that you're making out with and you've just ruined everything?
Oh, you've ruined like the whole setup, the whole evening.
Yeah, that's fun.
It's dangers of kissing on the dance floor. You never know what intricate network you're stepping into. When the lights go on, all will be revealed.
It's fascinating. This after party thing, going to strangers' houses, I was never like much for that. I was always just like, no, it's 3:00. I'm going to go home. Are there any stories that stick in your mind?
Oh, any stories that stick in my mind? I mean, mostly just very drunken. Ended up like telling your whole life story and having a heart-to-heart with some randomer that you've just met in some flat somewhere, and just feeling like you're having the best chat of your life, sitting having a cigarette on someone's like windowsill. And I really like those moments. I think they're quite precious. And so, yeah, I know that's not really a tale, but I feel like that is the tale. I mean, that's predominantly what happens, really, and you just end up talking shit to strangers. But I don't know. There's something that I feel like we all need to do that sometimes. I guess it doesn't always have to be through the medium of drinking lots of alcohol and smoking cigarettes, but there is something about being able to offload onto a stranger and them doing the same for you, and it kind of being like, it doesn't really matter. That's quite nice. So I quite like that. And also just getting to see other people's flats. It's cool. It's like, oh, yeah.
What, to have flat envy or?
Yeah, to have flat envy, or to be like, oh, my flat's better than that. Mostly though, I'd have flat envy if these flats are much nicer. Yeah. But then also, sometimes then being like, oh, actually, this is a bit weird. Maybe there's like someone who's probably slightly odd or is taking it too far, and so you have to be wary of that sometimes.
Extricate yourself.
Not often, but
yeah, I was always because
oh yeah, it's a bit weird.
I've always been sober, so whenever I've gone to like someone's place after the club and like have been hanging out, I've always been the one that's like, should we turn the music down? Should we like try and respect your neighbors? So I don't do too well in those situations because I'm trying to like mother everyone. Like,
But
should we be sensible, everyone?
that's an important role.
Oh, it's an exhausting role.
Well, yeah, but I remember someone did maybe come around and tell us to turn down the music or something somewhere, and then basically, like we didn't really know whose flat it was that we're in. Somehow it was, so someone obviously had a key, but nobody actually lived in this flat that was with us. So then we all then eventually kind of left, and we're like, oh, because the neighbours complaining, and then they locked the cat. Like nobody lived there. Very odd.
Well, like, you all left. Wow.
Yeah, all left, and nobody lived there.
Well, this is the other thing, right? Like, so I do not understand. I mean, this is an extreme example that you're giving, but I would not bring like 10 people back to my flat ever. I just wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
10 people who'd been drinking, I'd just be like, nah, guys, you're going home. Sorry.
No, absolutely. I always would be the go somewhere as opposed to come back to mine.
Yeah.
No, that wouldn't happen. Well, it's just such a level of trust, or that you've
naivety.
Naivety or whatever. Yeah, exactly. That you can just invite these randomers that you've just literally just met, who have been drinking and doing who knows what.
I mean that, I mean, like, going back to what you said, it's very generous of those people because it allows that magic to happen. But thankfully, that's never been me. I've never kind of woken up to discover like my carpets have cigarette butts put out in them and that my money's been stolen. But I salute anyone who's ever done that.
Yeah, I mean, well, exactly. And yeah, thank you to all those strangers who have chatted to and sat in their
on windowsills,
bathrooms and windowsills.
Have you ever done like when you've like had one of those heart-to-hearts and then saw that person again like a few weeks later and they have no recollection of you?
Yeah, that has definitely happened as well. And that's quite odd, isn't it? Or sort of like, or also if you can't quite place them, and then you're suddenly like, you suddenly remember that you were just telling them. Maybe you cried, maybe you shed a tear.
Hang on, is your childhood dog named Fido, and did it have cancer?
Yeah, how do I know this about you? Oh yeah. And then if you meet them again at the club where it all began as well, maybe that's where, that's quite a nice full circle. It doesn't always happen, but.
Yeah, or awkward when they don't want to talk to you.
Awkward, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Hi, hello. You wave and like they don't wave back. And you pretend you're doing a dance move.
Or waving to someone behind them.
Yeah, going out by yourself is great fun.
Oh, it is wonderful. I used to love, like, dancing all night, sweating, getting merry. And then when the lights come up and everyone leaves, I was never good at loitering. So maybe I should have picked up some tips from you. So I never got invited to other people's places. But that walk home, I just love that walk home.
Yeah. No, you're totally right. There's something about that. And especially if you can actually walk home, like you don't have to get on a bus or maybe even a short bus. But yeah, if there's a way that you can walk home, even if it's a longer walk, that's great.
Yeah, even if it's like an hour, 2 hours, it's just wonderful.
Yeah, and there's maybe other like people sort of falling out of places or whatever, like but it's kind of quiet and also that's kind of magical. I always have like I think it was maybe there or maybe Dalston Superstore, but definitely somewhere walking back to that flat in Stoke Newington when it was probably around about this time of year, actually. I must have been out by myself yet again, but was doing that walk home. and it started snowing, and it was just like, I have this really clear recollection in my head of just how like magical it was, and I was just like, oh wow, like we're in London town, you know, 3 a.m, it's snowing. All my dreams.
And tomorrow I'll slip on the road because no one will have salted it.
In that moment, it's magical.
Oh yeah, I need to enjoy the moment more. I just always like think ahead. Like the conversation that we were having about going to other people's houses, I would always be like, but where exactly do you live? Because is it closer to where I live, or is it further to where I live than where we are right now?
It's always like, oh yeah, no, it's just here, and then you're like, we've been gone for like an hour. Like, we're not there.
I have no idea where I am. How am I going to get home? Do I just fall asleep here and then go home in the morning, or do I just leave?
That's it. Do you just keep going because you're in too deep and you have to just keep going with other people in it? Do you leave and try it? Yeah, it's a tricky one. There is that. Yeah,
that's like when you pick someone up, like when you pick someone up in a club and you go home with them, like you braid each other's hair, and then it's like, okay, so that's done. Should I just go to sleep? Or should I get up and go home? Like that's always just it's a conundrum.
It is a conundrum, and I don't know what the way around that is really. Because if you have gone somewhere and you're really far away and then you have to like leave, that's a nightmare. If your phone's died.
If it's more than one night bus, I'm just not doing it.
Yeah.
Like if you have to swap over, no. But at the same time, I cannot sleep next to a stranger.
Yeah. Then and then you've got the morning, and then that's not fun.
The awkwardness, you mean?
The awkwardness in the morning, and then you're trying to find your way home like in daylight and people are judging you.
Because you were in such a rush to leave that you didn't wash your face and you didn't do anything.
And clearly you have no idea where you are, and you're wearing a nice sparkly top.
Oh, I miss that.
It was very cruisy on in the toilets.
And you're bringing this up only now?
You didn't ask the right question.
So how do you know if someone's cruising you?
Oh, because everyone just had their cocks out.
Yeah, but they're in the toilet, so of course they are.
No, but like in a, not just peeing way.
Please elaborate.
Basically, the urinals would just kind of turn into like a dark room, except in the light.
What?
And people just were helping each other out. Doing.
No, I don't know.
Everyone was just standing around wanking each other off and then sucking each other off, basically, in the toilets.
Well, then, so what if you like actually needed to pee?
Well, yeah, it was quite like you had to like quite often be like, no, I'm actually just peeing, like bat the hand away type situation. But this only happens at a certain point in the evening.
Or like wait 30 seconds.
Yeah. Well, this only happened from about, this is like 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock. It was like in the last hour, clearly something just, goes on, and suddenly you sort of notice that the toilets are really busy.
Oh, isn't that funny? It's that thing as well that you said about like, at one point the club is empty and then like 10 minutes later it's full. It's like that all these people know these things without
it's like an unwritten rule.
Ever been written down.
It's very strange. And
it's just us who don't know.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh wait, no, I'm peeing during the wanking hour. Oh no.
During that, oh yes, that well-known wanking hour. But like the thing as well about people when they, You know, some people are like, "Oh, the club's shutting in half an hour. I have to find someone
Yeah.
to go home with."
Oh, yeah. Last
That
call.
just never occurred to me ever. It would I'd just always be like, oh, the lights are up. Oh, I didn't realize it was so late. But like some people just have it like innate within them, this clock telling them,
So that
right, now it's time to pick up.
Right, and then so if you pick up in the last half hour, you know it's a desperate last attempt. Doesn't make you feel good.
Well, you know, I'm not one to throw the fish back into the water.
Go for it, you know. Last call, last orders, not just for drinks.
Oh, I see what you did there.
There's a lot to do, and you have to get your coat as well. It's intense.
Oh, getting your coat.
Yeah,
that's stressful. No, see, this is one thing that my inner clock does to kick in for.
You leave. Like, I bet you leave. If I get your right, you know when to get.
Yeah. Like leave about 10 minutes before the club shuts. Go and get your coat because otherwise you're going to be in this long queue.
But then, are you ever with people who then are like, "No, I want to keep on dancing," and you're like, "Come on," and then do you end up paying for a bag and coat for them instead? Does that happen to you?
No, I mean, I'm not that uptight. You know, I'll just be like, okay, fine, we'll stand in queue and I'll just be passive aggressive about it.
It's true, though. You have to beat the queue, but then also quite annoying to leave the dance floor if you're in that moment. I remember though people used to leave. Yeah. I can't believe I ever actually did this, but I used to leave my bag and jacket just like on the dance floor. There was like some stools there underneath one of like the sort of bar things, and there was just like a massive big pile of coats and jackets and bags. And
and when you're like, I'm not paying £1 for
exactly. And I just like I'm pretty sure I at least lost one jacket during that time from doing that. But
that's gutting.
I know, it's sad. But yeah,
do you want to describe the jacket? Maybe someone's found it, handed in.
It was a nice like cream number actually. Yeah. Which also is not an idea to leave on the floor. It had a zip on it, a little like black panel at the front, kind of like, you know, pinched around the waist and the wrists. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A corset. Okay, I left my corset.
Okay, so listeners, if you found this jacket, please let us know. Did you ever go to East Bloc? Well, if you did, I want to hear all about it. Find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram with the username KAndersonMusic and tell me what you got up to. You can also find out more about Venn, including his upcoming releases, by following him on Instagram. His username is Venn Smyth, VENNSMYTH. Lost Spaces is not only a podcast, but a concept record as well. I've been writing songs about queer venues and the people who used to live their lives there, and will be releasing songs over the coming year. You can hear the first single, Well Grown Boys, which is also playing underneath my talking right now on all good streaming platforms. If you liked this episode, I would really appreciate if you subscribed, left a review on Apple Podcasts, or just told someone who you think might be interested in giving it a little listen too. I am Kay Anderson, and you have been listening to Lost Spaces.